I'm sure many are aware of the latest nonsense pulled off by NASA, of course, a government agency, and a joint venture with a private agency called Intuitive Machines, giving the illusion that a private company is part of this. It's not just a government operation trying to make it look more legit, more real, but nothing real about it, of course. In the year 2024, all we have from NASA and Intuitive Machines is animation. Nothing real. No real video. No real photos. No nothing. Absolutely unbelievable how people buy into this absolute garbage that they're being fed. Now, as always with these so-called space missions, there's the occultic side hidden in plain sight. Just like famous Freemason Manly P. Hall once stated, it is said that wisdom lies not in seeing things, but in seeing through things. And this is very important. People understand these Masons, with all the lies they give us, they also give us the truth in plain sight. Just like I showed here with this screenshot, as you can see here, called, of course, Odysseus. This is named after, of course, Odysseus, the former king of Greece in so-called mythology. So again, there's always a backstory going back to either Greece, Rome, to ancient times with Egypt, etc. And definitely more to come regarding the occultic side. Let's take a look here first with these paid propagandists with ABC News, Good Morning America. Let's take a listen to this news story regarding this absolute garbage, and we'll continue on.
Overnight, a lot of excitement over the first American moon landing in half a century. Who else but our transportation correspondent, Jill Benitez, would be here to break down a historic return to the moon and the future of the space race. And Jill, there's no one who knows more about air travel, space travel than you. Take it away.
Oh, thank you, my friend. This is a major milestone for space exploration because this little spacecraft has landed in an unexplored area of the moon, the South Pole. And if there's truly water there, as we think there is, well, this could set the stage for humanity to get to Mars and beyond.
Prepare for landing.
This morning, the U.S. celebrating that historic landing where no human has been before, the South Pole of the moon.
We can confirm, without a doubt, as our equipment is on the surface of the moon.
Odysseus, nicknamed Odie, a lunar lander built by Houston-based Intuitive Machines.
Gotta stop right there. Again, the occultic side here. Very important to key on with Intuitive Machines. You see the one-eye symbol. You heard the spacecraft, so-called spacecraft, nicknamed Odin. And again, that's so very important because we all know, or should know, when it comes to the occult, Odin sacrificed his eye for wisdom into the well, as you see here, Mimir's well. And so, again, very important. A lot of people are going to look at this and see the one-eye symbolism with the logo. Again, signs and symbols are key to understand what's really taking place and looking deeper, thinking deeper. And again, the occultic side is always present in their manufactured space-based program news stories. And this is absolutely nothing new. Going back to 1969 with the so-called Apollo 11 mission, it goes much deeper than just pointing out the fakery. If you're just pointing out fakery, not touching on the occultic side, you're not doing these exposing videos justice. So again, when it comes to Apollo 11, the reason the first so-called moon landing was named Apollo 11 all has to do with the Antichrist, as mentioned in Revelation 9:11, as you see here. And they had a king above them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. So you have the name Apollyon or Apollo in 9:11. So it's going to make perfect sense with the connection with the Antichrist in the so-called Apollo 11 mission. Just as you see here with the 30th year anniversary of the so-called Apollo 11 mission and the Apollo 11 with the giant 11s like the Twin Towers. Make no mistake about this, this is by design. Of course, with September 11th made to happen on the world stage, just like you see here from Washington, D.C., New Year's Day, 1999, and the reflection of the 999 in the water. You get your 666 in plain sight, all by design as usual. Now let's continue on with the ABC News Good Morning America with their news story.
Congratulations, IM team.
Let's stop right there. And what do you see here? the so-called ball Earth as a flat table. This is Mockery in plain sight. Of course, we live on a flat, stationary plane. Don't live in a globe. For those that follow my channel, they'll know this. Let's continue on here.
We'll see how much more we can get from that.
Applause in mission control as Odie landed successfully on the moon last night.
Houston, Odysseus has found his new home.
But roughly an hour before landing, the team's scrambling to fix a navigation sensor crucial for that touchdown.
They always add drama to all these events to make it more interesting. Nothing ever goes smoothly. Again, it's just like a movie being played out as so-called reality, where they must insert drama to make it more interesting, more fascinating for the masses.
Creating new software right here on Earth in those final moments and sending it to Odie.
We're also not dead yet.
Odie has made history, becoming the first private spacecraft to land on the moon and the first American spacecraft to do so in more than 50 years.
More than outstanding effort. I know this was a nail biter, but we are on the surface.
And right here with all these people gathered together, just like a Backstreet Boy concert, cheering on this nonsense that's just animation. Again, no real video, no real photos, just a movie being played out to the masses.
The implications enormous. Odie will study the south pole of the moon, which has water and ice, both critical if you're using the moon as a launching pad to the rest of the universe.
The moon has 1/6 the gravity of Earth and no atmosphere, so it's a much easier place to launch deeper into the solar system. It really is the launching pad into human exploration out into deep space.
And we are expecting images to come in. Now, this landing, it was a real nail-biter because it turns out that Odysseus lost its main navigation system right before landing. And in that 11th hour here on Earth, scientists created a whole new software telling Odie to use a system on board that had never been fully tested before. It worked, and Odie is right there on the moon, upright.
So they just wrote a program right when they needed it.
In 2 hours.
And that's just flat out mockery. Pun intended with the flat. They're just mocking the masses that believe this nonsense. They can produce new software in 2 hours. Give me a break.
Right away, and they sent it to space. And it's just incredible that it actually worked.
Wow.
Yeah.
Geo and Odie, thank you.
And they laugh. Of course they laugh. And this goofball paid propagandist. Take a look at that face, like Guy Smiley. Give me a break. Just as you see here, Guy Smiley, let's continue on. And as always with these fake so-called space missions, they gotta throw in the mockery. As you'll see here, take a listen to the people in the background as they're laughing after this one individual goes by the so-called play-by-play with the animation, the laughter in the background.
And make a decision to make a safe landing. It's able to add a little bit more oomph and make that decision a reality rather than just a possibility.
And you just heard that laughter in the back, obviously by design to mock the masses that believe in this nonsense, absolute garbage. Now take a look here. Just looking at this simple terms, we're back in 1969 where NASA supposedly landed men on the moon with the technology of rotary phones. In 2024, you have these razor-thin cell phones, and they can't land men on the moon in 2024. We have to wait, supposedly, until 2026. So what's up with this backward technology? In 2024, they can't land men on the moon. And they're going to keep delaying astronauts supposedly going back to the moon. And the reason they give us fake footage, take a look here back in 1971 with Apollo 14 in the so-called moon mission. Absolute nonsense. And again, this is why they're giving us nothing but animation, because it's hard to fake real. Just take a look here as we see this so-called moon landing in this moon mission with this astronaut about to come out of this lander. As you see him, obviously nothing more than a soundstage, nothing more than a production with this absolute garbage. Take a look at this. I mean, horrible, atrocious footage passed off to the mass as real. Again, from 1971, Apollo 14, as this astronaut is taking his sweet time. And take a look here in the background. where you see the so-called horizon. It looks like it's about 100 feet away, less than 100 feet. It's about 50 feet away. And take a look at this American flag that's going to be stuck in the ground in this studio. Who knows where exactly it is, somewhere in LA. Nonetheless, take a look as the flag is waving with the fans in the studio. It gets a bit hot in there. Just take a look here as he's unraveling the flag, placing it supposedly on the moon. Give me a break. 100% junk. And take a look at the flag as it's moving. As you can see here, specifically towards the bottom. Take a look here. Again, the reason they're not doing this today, just giving us animation. Can't fake real. Let's move along here with more footage. With, as you see here, the flag. And there's wind on the moon. Take a look here. Huh. Give me a break. Now I'm going to continue on here as the astronauts supposedly leave the moon. With the footage you're going to see here momentarily. Take a look here as the so-called astronauts leave the moon. And look at the confetti as they leave so-called moon. Again, nothing more than garbage. But hey, at least they're giving us some so-called real footage. We know it's not. Now let's take a look here at so-called Apollo 17 from 1972, December of 1972. The last so-called Apollo mission. Take a look here as the camera pans up. I guess they left an astronaut on the moon to take this footage. Of course, they're going to say it's a remote camera taking this footage. Absolutely not. You can't even get connectivity sometimes with your Wi-Fi here on Earth. How people in society can't see through this nonsense is beyond me. It's a very sad situation where society will just believe whatever is presented on television programming. And just like former President Richard Nixon once stated, no hero, but speaking the absolute truth. The American people don't believe anything until they see it on television.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened.
You had a number of big batteries in the lunar module. They powered pumps, they powered the air conditioning, they powered the communication system, and that's the reason we were only able to stay on the moon 33 hours.
John, chapter 9, verse 25. Whereas once I was blind, now I can see, now I can see, now I can see.